Hello, hello, hello. Black Bean Simpson here today. It is December 3rd, 2018, 9:47 a.m. in the morning. The snow is covering everything. So, Bush, the 41st president, died. He died over the weekend, I believe it was. He was like 94 years old or something like that. So he was pretty old. Interesting enough, that guy had a interesting past. But this podcast is going to be mostly just a quick thing about how the media is taking the Bush and the Bush death and using it in a sense to it's kind of hard to put into words to prop up very evil people, and then to use that evil people to attack Trump. And CNN has an article. I'm essentially reading it from an archive web capture. It's CNN under politics, December 3rd, 2018. It says analyzed by Stephen Collinson. Essentially, the headline is "And Bush's repose, a rare chance for unity." Well, what's really interesting is that it goes down to about halfway, and then it starts pretty much bringing up John McCain and Trump. And then down to the last third of the article talks about Russia cloud darkens over Trump. I'm not going to go over the exact details within this. I haven't even read it. What I found just interesting, though, is that I haven't read it from word to word, essentially. But what I find extremely interesting is that they're taking a death of a president and using this sad incident, essentially. Well, some people will say it's not sad, but yet they're pretty happy that it happened. I wish it happened a long time ago. But I guess that's could be done for another podcast. The many reasons on why people likes and dislikes on presidents. Be an interesting podcast. So, what's fascinating about this is that they're just using this death to attack President Trump rather than talk about all the great things that Bush did. I mean, they're making him sound like he's a great person. I mean, I haven't heard one media outlet really talk down on Bush, the 41st president. And in fact, the most I've heard, the closest I've heard was that they didn't share ideological viewpoints with like Laura Ingraham. She's the first one I've heard so far because she's the earliest one, really, one of the talking heads on radio besides a few others. There's like a handful of people that are really major talking heads, but the ones in my area, I really only get to listen to like 3 or 4 of them. There's actually probably like a dozen nationwide. But anyways, what I thought fascinating though is that here's Laura Ingraham, and I don't agree with probably like, I don't know, maybe 50% of what probably close to that, but or at least how they present it and how they do it. But anyways, she's all like, we don't share the same ideological viewpoints, but he was a good man. I'm all like, well, isn't the whole reason why you don't share a set of ideological viewpoints is because the end result is not good? So how can someone be good if they're having some ideology that ends in people's like dying or starving or people just have just not right? It's just not good. The end result is not good. I don't know. It just, to me, it's just weird to say it. It's like covering your ass essentially. Smart. It's smart. It's smart. And I understand it. So, once again, the NPC media, these inclusive, compassionate, kindful, so-called people, the left, these so-called soul progressive people, rather than talking about the evils of what this guy was supposedly part of or actually did, talking about all the money mongol that they have been part of with the oil industry. Let's talk about the history of their great-grandfather or their grandfather being a donator to the Nazis. Yeah, as many people back then were, actually. Which again, that could be another whole podcast right there. That would be a very interesting one. But there's so many things that they could have gone over and talked about. But then it starts to make sense on why they didn't. What they're trying to do is, I'm pretty sure what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to separate all past presidents in our lifetime from this current President Trump. They're going to try to separate him. They're going to try to make this guy look like he was the worst of the worst of the worst of the worst. And this is why the Obamas are getting close with Bush. You know what? Bush in our lifetime was probably the most he's probably more hated than Clinton. In fact, is more hated than Clinton. But it's interesting on how the media has convinced people that Trump is even worse than the Clintons and the Bushes. Even though, and Obama's. Which is just factually overseeing right now. The fact that Trump has both sides totally against him. Even past presidents that have never come out and done what they have done so far to this president talk ill about a current president after they became an ex-president. That I don't know. Maybe that isn't president, but that's, I don't know. To my understanding, that's not president. That's not presidential too. That's not professional. Like I don't understand that. Like, you know, it'd be a different story if this guy had a trail of blood behind him, but unlike all these other presidents, he doesn't have any of that. Maybe that's what it is. They're so worried that he doesn't have a track record of horrible evil like they do, which means that people don't have leverage on Trump like they do. So maybe that's why they attack him so much. Ooh, I'm jealous. I got strings that are attached to my ass, and you know. It just boggles my mind how an article that could be headline literally has unity in it, and yet halfway through the article it pretty much sets the tone of division. And yet these people are supposed to be the leaders of and the talking and giving us the correct talking points, that diversity, inclusiveness, being compassionate and understanding. That's what these people claim. That's what these people claim. And then they point at us and call us all these horrible, horrible words. And it's like, are you sure the level of projection isn't at a 10 from you guys? Because surely it does seem that way. Surely it does. Surely when you say that Trump and all these people on the right are inciting violence, yet you guys can't really even show much for really proof of that. And yet here's the left, not only having like open talks about attacking police officers and Trump supporters. You got even like Black Lives Matter inciting violence towards police, and then shortly after, police attacks increased. I don't know. One thing I know is that there's good and evil on both sides. It's just that when evil and good becomes totally unbalanced, that's when it becomes tough to really decide where to stand. Because if all your friends, all your loved ones, all the people you thought that you were closest to are on the side that you oppose, most of the time those people give in. Rather than take the higher road. It's just like all these reporters and journalists. Their end in becoming a good journalist or a well-known journalist is a hit piece on Donald Trump in every way possible. If they don't make those top dollars like Rachel Maddow and Samantha Bee and all those really ridiculous people. Chris Cuomo and Costa, like these people are only have gotten as big as they are now, or well known. Their name is more well known. The only reason why I know these names off the top of my head is because of Trump. All these people who write, talk, and create division, and point the finger at Trump, all this blaming and all this finger pointing toward Trump, all this 15 minutes of fame and all the fame that these people are getting for writing such articles, they should all thank Donald J. Trump. If you like this podcast, please like and subscribe. If you didn't like this podcast, please like and subscribe. Comment down below and explain why or why not you didn't like this podcast. Or just say hi. Any suggestions? Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.